Hi, my name is Hector. Today I'm going to be working on my 2002 Lincoln Town Car. I'm going to be replacing the upper and lower control arm. Let's get started. Okay, we're going to start by removing this nut off the shock. Alright? Okay. Next we're going to remove this tire, but first we got to loosen it before we raise it to remove the tire. We're going to put the floor jack where the frame is, right here, for the strongest point, right here. Okay, this is where I plan on putting it, somewhere around here. So here we go. Also make sure that the emergency brake is on so the car won't roll back even though it's in park. Okay, now that we got the wheel removed, now we're going to remove the shock. This one takes a 1/2 inch socket to remove the bolts from here. So we're going to remove this one and this one. But also I put a floor jack right there, so I have extra safety there. I have a jack stand, rather I should say. Is a jack stand. And the floor jack over here, so that way the car don't go nowhere. See, I can shake it and it doesn't go nowhere. So always think safety. You don't want these things to fall on your head. And, oh yeah, and of course if you have a place to put your bolts in, that's a great place to have it. A magnetized bolt, inexpensive at Harbor Freight. Now that I got the bolts loose, now I'll pull this shock out. And there it is, the other part right here. Once you remove the shock, it's always best to put everything back how you find it. So that way you don't lose the bolt, the washer, or the rubber piece. Okay? Now that we removed the shock, now we're going to remove the caliper, which to remove it is a 9/16 socket that removes the bolt from the caliper. Bolts are removed. Again, put everything in its place. You won't lose them. Alright. Calipers removed. Brakes are being removed. These still look good, but I'm going to replace them anyway, as I'm also going to replace the rotor as I'm going along. Okay. Now we're going to remove the abutment that holds the caliper in place. There it is. Now, I'd like to do is put the bolts on so I know where they're at, so they don't get lost. Now remove the rotor. I'm going to be replacing it anyways, so it's no biggie. Now I'm going to remove this ball joint right here. Now make sure that the steering wheel is straight, because it's going back the same way. But regardless of what we do here, we still got to take it in and have it aligned. Now, since I am replacing the ball joint, this tie rod right here, the outer tie rod and the inner tie rod, I'm replacing both of them. So it's okay to hit it with a hammer, because it ain't going back on. And there it goes. Now I can move this any way I want to get to what I need to get to. Next, I'm going to be taking off the sensor right here, the sensor. Okay, the sensor is off. Next, I'll be taking off the sway bar rod off here, and this is also going to be replaced too. So, because this is pretty badly worn. Alright, now that I got that off, I can turn it like this and grab there. Okay, now it's time to raise this part up and remove some parts here. So I'm going to place a floor jack underneath the control arm, which is going to hit this part where the shock sits right here. So my floor jack is going to be right here around this area. So when I raise it, and then I can loosen the top control arm, and once I loosen that, then I drop the whole thing, and that's when the string will come out. Now I say this is the most dangerous part of the job. I can't stress enough. Think safety always, because you never know. Even though you got floor jacks and spots, even though the car won't move, you still gotta be careful. All right, here we go. Okay, now I got it where I want it. See, that turns easy. So, now I'm going to loosen this bolt here that holds the upper control arm. Okay, now remove the bolt. The nut, remove the bolt, there it goes. And off it goes there. Alright, now that I got that off, I'm going to remove this part right here by removing the nuts here. That's the adjustment for, I guess, for when they do an alignment. So I'm going to remove those bolts so I can remove this. And then that way I can drop that. Here we go. There it goes. See? And there it goes. That's it. Now comes the fun part. Down. I may have to raise the car up a little bit, but yeah, I'm going to have to raise it. So I'm going to raise it.